Hey guys, it's me, Vinny Lospinuso. I'm back with another vlog, and for the first time in a couple years, I'm doing another one on Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. For those that don't know, that's the platform fighter game that has heavy inspiration from the Super Smash Bros. Series. And I made my top 10 list last year. It had characters such as Jimmy Neutron, Squidward, Hugh Neutron, and a few others that end up being in the game. And now that the first game is finished and the second sequel has been announced, this is on the assumption that every single character has been back in the game. It's from everyone from SpongeBob to Rocco and everyone in between. Garfield as well, and Shredder, and everyone else added. Not only that, there were some new characters that were added on the game when they showed its first trailer. Squidward and Jimmy, as well as Raphael and Donatello. And in a sort of roundabout way, El Tigre was leaked and his creator confirmed it. So there's already 5 characters, all 5 that were on my top 10 list are in the game now. But there's still many more characters to add, and even afterwards, there's going to be more characters afterwards that I'd like to add as well. And so for the second time, I would like to give my top 10 most wanted characters for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl Part 2. Now, there's a few disclaimers here. On this list, I will mention some honorable mentions. These are characters that I don't think really have a chance of being in this game. Maybe in a third game or whatnot, I could see them having a chance, but I don't really see them for this one. This would be the Nick Jr. characters like Dora, Blue, Kylan, Wubsy, those kinds of characters. As much as I would love to see Dora and Blue in a game like this, I don't think it's ready for them just yet. That's the same thing with other like Paramount global owned properties too, like Star Trek and Beavis and Butthead and South Park. I think this would be great to have, but I don't see them happening in this game. Also, not only that, third-party characters I also don't see happening in this game. So even ones like Doug, who is so heavily tied to Nickelodeon because it was one of the first 3 Nicktoon shows, because of Disney and because of the budget, I don't see that really happening. That's the same for like any of the DreamWorks characters like Poe or the Penguins or whatnot. You'd have to really consult with DreamWorks, and DreamWorks is also owned by a conglomerate in Comcast. So that's going to need a lot to try to get there convincing. It's not like when they got Hugh into the game where they contacted Steve Odekirk about it, and that's also how Jimmy got in the game too. And also, I'm not going to list any live action characters. So no like Keenan and Kel, no Carly Shay, no Drake and Josh, none of that stuff. So it's just going to be just the regular Nicktoons characters that have been around from the early 90s to the present. I'm going to start off with number 10, Reggie Rocket from Rocket Power. Now, first off, I should mention this too. Reggie Rocket Power itself was not a show that I grew up watching as a kid. But I think just the idea of extreme sports, whether that's surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, I think that makes for a really, really interesting moveset. I think that having Rocket Power, which has been advertised a lot as part of the Nicktoon stuff from the 90s, I think adding that in would be really, really nice to have. And I think Reggie in particular would be really good as another female rep and as a character that can possess these abilities. Number 9, I have Cat Scratch. Now, this could go either all 3 of them, or you can just choose Mr. Blick here. But I have, the Cat Scratch characters in this spot. Now, why do I have them? I think you can do a lot, too, with, spinning the tango, the paperclip, and them just clawing itself. There could be a whole bunch of wacky ideas. That'd be a very off-the-ball kind of a character. But the reason why they're not higher is because they were around for a shorter period of time, and there's other characters I would want a little bit more. Number 8, I have Rudy or Snap from Shock Zone. I think there's a lot you could do with their moveset. I don't know if you choose Rudy or choose Snap. Either way, a Shock Zone character. I could see this as being like how if Maxwell from Scribblenauts was to be in Smash Brothers. I think the idea of you being able to draw whatever you want at your disposal as an attack against, your opponent is very, very interesting to me. And it's something that I would love to see as in a potential future moveset. Also, a big reason why they also aren't higher is because I'm just not sure if they'd be able to incorporate that. Number 7, I have Plankton from the SpongeBob series. Now, normally, Plankton would be a bit higher, but because we already have SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, and more than likely Sandy's coming back, adding a 5th SpongeBob character is going to be a bit lower on my priority list. That being said, Plankton is the most famous Nickelodeon villain. And, you know, Doug Ozowski, a.k.a. Mr. Lawrence, has been playing him splendidly for, like, nearly 25 years. Like, Plankton, absolutely. I know that you have Vlad in the game. I don't know if he's going to be playable or as a boss, so I don't have him in here. But if he's going to be in this game and he's a villain, I would love to see another villain in the form of Plankton in this game. Number 6, I have the Angry Beavers. There's some rumors about them potentially being in this game, but unlike El Tigre, who's already been leaked, it's not entirely sure for the Angry Beavers yet, whether it's Norbert or Daggett or just one of them. I think, you know, almost like a Ren and Stimpy sort of situation, where it would be like Ice Climbers from Smash Brothers, where they can either interchange with each other, they play as one duo. It could be very interesting. Another really good moveset potential for these two characters, and I think they're relatively likely, so I have them a bit higher. So going on for my bottom 5 out of these top 10. Number 10 is Reggie Rocket. Number 9 is Cat Scratch, any of them. Number 8 is a Chalk Zone character. Number 7 is Plankton. And number 6 is any of the Angry Beavers. So number 5, I have Mr. Krabs. Eugene H. Krabs from SpongeBob. Again, he would be higher, but similarly to Plankton, because we already have 3, probably 4 SpongeBob characters already. Adding a 5th one doesn't seem... It could be possible, but it's not really as high on my priority list. But then again, I would love to see Mr. Krabs be playable. Here's a little fun fact for you. In the history of crossover Nickelodeon games, Mr. Krabs has never been playable once. Think about that for a second. You know, SpongeBob's obviously been playable. Patrick has. Sandy has. Squidward obviously also has. And even Plankton has. But then you look at characters like the Flying Dutchman, Larry Lobster, multiple versions of SpongeBob, Squidina, and Gary. But yet the one character, the one major character you think would be playable has been Mr. Krabs. He just has not been playable yet. I don't know why, but if I were to take a guess as to why I think he hasn't been playable, well, one, circumstance is one, but also I think it's because of Clancy Brown. Because he is an actor, like a full-blown actual actor, it probably would cost a little bit for Game Mill to pay for the voice of Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs. But, you know, I could really... if, let's say, Plankton was the base game character and Mr. Krabs is DLC, that would work. It would absolutely work, not just for the character of Mr. Krabs, but because it could help with paying for Clancy Brown as well. So, number 5 is Mr. Krabs. Number 4, I have Zuko from the Avatar series. Now, Zuko is still a heavily requested choice. We have a major airbender in Aang, a major earthbender in Toph, and a major waterbender in Korra. Now, that doesn't stop them from adding someone like a Katara or someone like, let's say Sokka, who doesn't use, you know, bending abilities. But Zuko has been the most requested character from it. He was a DLC in the most recent kart racer game for Nickelodeon, so I could realistically see him here. If he ends up not making it, well, similar to Mr. Krabs, he could easily be a DLC, and I guarantee you people would fork up good money for that. Now for my final 3. Number 3, I have Angelica Pickles from Rugrats. Rugrats was SpongeBob before SpongeBob for Nickelodeon. The fact that only one character is from the entire franchise is represented so far in this game is baffling to me. Absolutely baffling. And I understand the idea of not wanting to hit up, you know, the babies and whatnot, but maybe you could do Angelica, and I think Angelica would work. There's a lot of opportunities you can at her disposal. I think just having only one Rugrats character just feels like a real shame, and it just feels very, very off-putting. So I'd say you really need to add Angelica. And the reason why she's this high is because it just feels like you have to do it. You have to put in a character from Rugrats. Not having them just feels odd. Number 2, I have Otis from Barnyard. Now, the reason why he's so high is because of the memes, but also because I think you make up for a very, very interesting moveset. And I even have him my penultimate pick because he is my most wanted character of who I think could be the most likely additions here. Otis, with the memes of Barnyard that's been affecting, you know, the internet the last, you know, couple of years, I think this is an opportune time to add Otis. And if not, again, he would be perfect DLC for this roster in a very similar way as how Hugh was for the last game. And both Otis and Hugh have very, you know, similar ties to Steve Odekirk for O Animation. They both had movies that were made before the shows were made. You know, the shows and, you know, the movie and the show are still getting attention, you know, for the memes to this day. And I think, you know, Otis, this would be the perfect prime time to add him. But regardless of all the characters I've mentioned, in Reggie Rocket, Cat Scratch, Chalk Zone character, Plankton, the Angry Beavers, Mr. Krabs, Zuko, Angelica, and Otis, there is one character I think by far is the most deserving. And at number 1, I have the man himself, Timmy Turner, as my most wanted character. Fairly Odd Parents has had ties to Nickelodeon dating back to 1998 when they were part of Oh Yeah Cartoons. And they've had their own TV show since 2001, which lasted for 10 seasons before finally being canceled in 2017. It also had its own short-lived live action series on Paramount Plus, and there's rumors of another CGI animated show coming very soon. This is one of the longest running shows in the history of Nickelodeon, only rivaled by SpongeBob and I think also Rugrats. The show has very iconic characters in Timmy Turner, Cosmo, Wanda, Jorgen, Crimson Chin, and various others. But the reason why I have only Timmy here and not anyone else is because, now, might be saying, Vinny, why is a character like Timmy, a character that you're describing as so important, how come he's not in this game yet? Well, it's actually very simple. See, back in 2001, when the show started, Nickelodeon made a deal with Nelvana to handle international distribution of the show outside the US and I think also Canada as well. Nelvana is a Canadian-owned company owned by Chorus Entertainment, and they've had that for the first 5 seasons before Nickelodeon gained the rights, Viacom gained the rights for the other seasons onward. Because of this, for games such as Nicktoons Unite, and other territories would be called SpongeBob and Friends to avoid, you know, the Fairly Odd Parents situation. Also, for international releases of the Fairly Odd Parents games, they wouldn't list Nickelodeon on there, just say Fairly Odd Parents normally, and they would emphasize the Nelvana logo as opposed to the Nickelodeon logo. It's also why in games like Globs of Doom, for instance, Timmy wasn't even there. In fact, he hasn't been in a game, like a proper crossover game, since I think like Hack of the Toy Bots even. It's been a very long time. Like, you've had so many other characters come in these crossovers, but Timmy, because of the whole rights situation, he has been left out. And it's a real shame because not having Timmy Turner in a game like this is just off-putting. It really is off-putting. He's one of the core Nicktoons Unite characters, along with, you know, SpongeBob, Danny, and Jimmy. And yeah, you have Danny Phantom there, which is good. You should have him. But, you know, Timmy, without Timmy, you wouldn't have Danny. And you also wouldn't have characters like from like Tough Puppy and even Bunsen. But Timmy, you have to add. Timmy Turner, if there's one character I think you must add in this game, no matter what it is, you have to put in Timmy Turner. I don't care if he's base game. I don't care if he's DLC. I don't care if he's a very, very limited time promotion. You have to do whatever you can to make Timmy Turner playable in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawls 2. And with the budget, everyone has him as their most wanted character. He is just obvious at this point. And if they don't see that, guys, that's just my thoughts on the matter. Please let me know who you would like to see in this game. Again, I'm very passionate about the subject, but as always, take care, guys. Peace out. Like and subscribe for more like videos like this on Zennie62 Media.